Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. We are just going to watch live and see if we are able to break 50K. We're currently at 49.3, so it certainly seems like it's theoretically on the cards. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me just post this in a few different places. Should probably change the thumbnail here. Alright, we're currently at 49.3. We're fairly quickly approaching 50K. How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, it's late. Well, we'll see if we can make it. This is the 1 hour time frame, so you can see this last 1 hour candle was a pretty nice move here. Basically almost 3% in 1 hour. I mean, another 3% this hour would put us above 50K if we're able to make it. Yeah. Bitcoin ruining the altcoin casino, someone says. I'll see if we can do it. 50K, we're not that far away. What does it mean for alts? So I think ultimately what it'll mean is, as I've said before, you know, when Bitcoin volatility is high and the price of Bitcoin's going up, then a lot of times alts will bleed against Bitcoin because they can't keep up. But they'll do okay against USD. A lot of times they'll do okay against USD. Like you can see Ethereum's doing okay, but the Ether Bitcoin valuation isn't looking too great. The same thing with a lot of the coins we follow, right? I mean, like DOT's looking okay. Obviously, the DOT Bitcoin valuation is bleeding. ADA's looking okay-ish. I mean, it's back to 86 cents, but it's not capitulating or anything. So, my interpretation of a move like this is that Bitcoin's back in price discovery mode, and it essentially can extend the altcoin casino once it, you know, the altcoin casino can theoretically continue as long as this Bitcoin, you know, whenever the volatility of Bitcoin calms back down, just like it did when it moved up to the 48K region in the first place. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see if Bitcoin volatility calms back down, right? If this is a fake out and we just come straight back down and continue on, or if we continue higher, at some point, I don't know when it'll be, right? But at some point we would probably calm back down again, and then alts can continue to run. Note that this will likely continue to push a theoretical move by Ethereum against Bitcoin down the road, because as long as Bitcoin volatility stays high, yeah, I mean, like, just Ethereum is most likely not going to make a move against Bitcoin, but it can be dragged up, right? So like if Bitcoin goes to 50K or 51 or 52K, there's a good chance Ethereum will be breaking $1,900, but not because it's doing well against Bitcoin, just because Bitcoin's dragging it up. So this is still not like a major Ethereum move, even if it were to break $1,900. It's not like it would be anything to write home about, because it would be it's essentially just being dragged up by Bitcoin at this point. who's been making money in altcoins? I'm assuming a lot of people have. Winston says WTF is up with Ethereum. This is I mean, this happens a lot, right? We've if you follow the channel or just the markets, right, you'll see this happen a lot, right? Bitcoin volatility goes up, Ethereum Bitcoin valuation bleeds, and then whenever Bitcoin volatility calms down, then Ethereum will move against Bitcoin. So far, that hasn't happened. Bitcoin continues to put in new highs, basically every few days. We just put in a new high a couple days ago, which was only a couple days after this new all-time high. So every 2 days, it seems like, of the last few days, we just keep putting in new all-time highs. So until Bitcoin stops doing this, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation is most likely not going to do anything that impressive. But you can find you might be able to find solace in the idea that Ethereum will likely move against Bitcoin whenever Bitcoin volatility calms down. Okay, assuming Bitcoin doesn't capitulate, right? I mean, there's obviously a lot of assumptions baked into that statement, but that's generally what it is. Yeah, and as I said before, because we're kind of in the altcoin casino phase, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, and I'm not offering financial advice, of course, but one of the ways to protect yourself during the altcoin casino is to systematically take profits out to fiat or stablecoins or out to Bitcoin or Ethereum if you kind of want to protect against some of that altcoin downside risk. Doesn't mean you have to sell all of it, but if you want to just say take some profits out to Bitcoin or Ethereum to increase those percentages, because likely those percentages have been going down because altcoins have been skyrocketing, you can help protect yourself by taking them out to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Just, a word of non-financial advice. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Let's take a look at, it looks like we're stalling for a little bit here. What's the all-time high? So it looks like it's at 49,357. So we'll see if that breaks. But let's take a look. Again, I say this always, that this regression band is only fit to 3 data points. Anyone can fit it. All you do is it's just this equation, right? 10a times the ln of x minus b. It's just fit to 3 data points. Okay, so it doesn't mean it can't break. That's all it is. Fit to 3 data points, and then we provided a tolerance there for it. So we still have a ways to go to theoretically get there, but I just want to remind people that it's not too far away. And right now it ranges from 57,539 up to 84,811. So it's a pretty big range, this band that we have here. But we are inching closer to it. I mean, in order to get to it, Bitcoin would just need to pump another 16%, right? Another 16%, and we're there to get to the bottom of the band. Or to get to the top of it, it would be another 72%. So the last time we entered the band, we went to the top of it, and then the time before that, we entered it. We also went to the top of it. Actually, we went slightly above it. If you look over here, it looks like we went slightly above it by just a little bit, maybe about 5%, 6% or so. But anyways, just to give you an idea of where that is. And again, I ultimately think that Bitcoin will trend higher than 85K this cycle. The question is can it do it this quickly, or will it come back down and then later trend up when the regression band is higher? That's, I guess, the main question. So we'll see. I'll switch back over to the hourly time frame. Actually, let's pull up our regression rainbow because I haven't looked at that in a little bit. Let me see where we are on it. So we're still about maybe a little above the halfway point on the green regression line. If we were to go up to the next one, it would be close to a 60K Bitcoin. So, but yeah, right now we are here. So the bottom is 34,000. The top is close to 60,000, just under 59,000. So who thinks we're hitting 50K? Or do you think there's going to be a huge wall at 50K that's going to push us down? By the way, Link has had a really good day. And obviously you can note that Bitcoin volatility going up is not good for Link USD's price, or Link USD. And you can see that it's pulled back after going to $35. But as we said before, right, as we've always said, when Bitcoin's down, Link tends to do well. You saw it today, right? Bitcoin was kind of not doing so well earlier today. Link was going up. Now that Bitcoin's going back up, Link's not doing that well. And by that not doing that well, I mean it's just kind of stalling for a little bit. Not that it's capitulating or anything. I mean, we're still looking at almost a $34 Link when, like, 2 days ago it was in like the upper 20s. So, and 4 days ago Link was even much lower than that. So I think this is a really exciting time. I mean, I really do hope everyone's enjoying these market conditions. I really do. I think it's great, and we are going to remember this phase of the cycle for the rest of our lives, is my guess. Yeah, basically it just goes to show you whenever we do have a bear market for Bitcoin again, that's the opportunity, right? It's only a matter of time, it seems, for these phases to come back to life. So whenever we kick the can down the road a few years, or whenever the next bear market is, remember that in the grand scheme, it's ultimately likely going to be short-lived. Okay. Well, let's look at the BLX and pull this up really quick so we can see it. By the way, this only shows closing prices, so you might wonder why it says it's 47K. We know it's at 49.2. What I want to do really quick, if you're new to Bitcoin and you look at the macro chart, right? The general idea is that Bitcoin goes up and that Bitcoin goes down, but it generally goes up. And whenever you find yourself in the future in these phases, you just have to treat it for the opportunity that it is, recognizing that at some point it's going to go back up, and you want to be on that train, right? You want to be on that train. And these accumulation phases don't come around every day, right? I mean, when they do come around, they can last a while, and it can be a grind. But that, again, this is where the real money is made, because you're getting in early and then you're waiting for it to blast off. Is it blasting off sooner than I thought it would? Yes, it is. But we've always said that Bitcoin bubbles can come at any time, and this just goes to show you. I mean, even this one in 2019, while it pales in comparison to the one we're seeing now, it was still a really nice move, right? Is there anyone in the chat that lived through this move? it was really exciting, even though it was a 4x. I mean, it was only a 4x, right? Which again pales in comparison to what's going on now. But despite that, it was still a really exciting time. And hopefully, I mean, hopefully people in the chat were living through that, and we were watching the price just go up, you know, week over week, basically. Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, the move was short-lived and we ended up bleeding back down, but still, it just goes to show you how quickly, when you get to this accumulation, the fair value, just goes to show you how quickly we can come back out of it. And then when we finally touch the fair value here, I mean, we capitulated all the way down, and then you can see it didn't take that long to get back out of it. So if you ever see us in that spot again, just, I would say, recognize the opportunity, right? There's going to be, I feel like there's going to be just continued opportunities through our lifetime to take advantage of these Bitcoin capitulations. And those Bitcoin capitulations, whenever they do come, are courtesy, a lot of times, of the smart money, you know, providing a lot of sell pressure, right? Providing a lot of sell pressure. And what I will say yet again is, remember that this one is only fit to 3 data points, and the green one is fit to thousands of data points. So the green one is instrumental in an accumulation phase. The red one is more so just for fun, and I don't think it's something you can take to the bank, right? I mean, we could easily go above this line. I'm not going to say we can't go above this line. It's certainly possible that the price of Bitcoin goes above this line. It is only fit to 3 data points. It's not like it's fit to thousands of data points like the green one is. But let's see if we can make it there. In order to get there, we need another 16%, a modest 16% or so. All right, let's take a look at the dominance. Okay, so the dominance, as we had, you know, we had a pump in the dominance on about a week ago, actually, essentially exactly a week ago, almost, where the dominance pumped up and then it came back down, as you can see. So we're still in the downtrend channel so far. We have not changed directions here. We're still generally heading down. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if we break out of it. It would take a lot to break out of it. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 60K or something in the next day or two, then yeah, we're probably breaking out of it in the short term. But, you know, barring something like that happening, the dominance seems more likely to trend down, unless Bitcoin really starts to pump and put in some really impressive numbers here in the next few, you know, maybe few hours or few days. Do I take institutional real-world events into account, or is it purely TA? I've said before, I think that it's the institutional money that is needed to get Bitcoin to 6 figures in the first place, right? This has been what we've said for a long time, that institutional money is needed because of the amount of volume that needs to come into the space to get us to 100K. I think that's kind of accounted for in the charts already. And it's also why I could see the cycle extending out longer, right? If the narrative this year is that institutional money's coming in, I mean, is the institutional money going to stop coming in 2021 or the end of it? I think it's probably going to last a while, and I mean perpetually potentially, but I mean there still will be bear markets, I'm sure, but we'll see. I mean we're currently in February of 2021. It's hard to imagine this trend continuing for the next 11 months or say 10 months, right? It's hard to imagine it continuing for the next 10 months. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, when I say this trend, I just mean how quickly things are going up, right? If you were to draw a line, let's just draw it through the middle of the data. Obviously, I could try to draw it to some of the other, but let's just draw it through the middle of the data. If this were to continue going up at this rate, then I mean we would be at a $400,000 Bitcoin by August. Okay, so I don't think we're going to stay on this this general trend for that long. And if it were to last until December, this exact trend, then we'd be looking at a $1.5 million Bitcoin by December. So this is not something that I think will be sustainable for the entire year, but we'll see how long it is sustainable for. No, I'm not. I don't think Bitcoin's going to 400K by August. I'm just showing you. I'm just extrapolating the current trend and saying how absurd it would be if it continued like that. So, yeah, I mean, as much as I think a 400K Bitcoin would be nice, I don't see it happening that soon. Oh, I sorry, I looked away from the price. Looks like we're back below 49. We're at 48.7. The live stream effect in full force. Yeah, a 400K Bitcoin would get a few Forbes interviews, I'm sure. Yeah, let's quickly look. What's the Ether Bitcoin doing? I'm just curious what Ether Bitcoin's doing over the last hour. Yeah, so you can see it's coming down some, which is expected, right? It's been coming down to this level though, for the last few days. It came on down here February 9th and February 12th, and then again on February 14th. By the way, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Let's go for 120,000 subscribers and give the video a thumbs up. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Make sure you hit the like button. Will it still be possible to get rich this easily in the next cycle if you miss the current one? I mean, it's all about. I mean, it's there's going to be pumps in the future, right? Of course. I mean, it depends on what your definition of get rich is, right? It's all about percentages. Will there likely be, 10x moves from Bitcoin's, over the span of a year or two among Bitcoin and Ethereum? Probably in the future. I mean, if you think about imagine a future scenario where Bitcoin goes to 150K and then corrects to 40 or 50K, right? Let's say it has a major bear market and goes back to 40 or 50K. In that type of scenario, could Bitcoin go from 40K up to 400K the following cycle? Sure, right? Of course, that's a possibility. So yeah, I mean, it depends on what your definition of get rich is, of course, but especially Ethereum, right? I mean, the theory or our thesis is that Ethereum's volatility is one market cycle behind Bitcoin. So, whatever volatility we see with Bitcoin this cycle, maybe that's what Ethereum will experience next cycle. How much weight do I think the pi cycle indicator has? It's hard to say, right? I mean, I honestly don't use it, but you have to recognize that it was fit after. I mean, it was fit after all the peaks, right? So if anyone wanted to come up with an indicator that would show a peak, if you fit it to say 3 data points, right? Anyone could come up with an indicator to do that. So I don't necessarily think it has to be predictive, but it's another tool, right? It's another tool. I'm not saying it's not worthwhile to use. So I think it's probably worth looking at and keeping an eye on, because there's always the possibility that it has predictive power, but it hasn't proven any type of predictive power yet. But that doesn't mean that it won't. So I would say, it's one more tool that we can use to try to help us time theoretical tops, right? And as I've said before, all models are wrong, some are useful. It's good to have as many models as possible to look at so that we have as much information as we can get, and then we can each make our own decisions. Someone says, but it has pi in the name, so it must be right. So he says, by getting rich, I mean turning 50K into 5 million. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about like 100x. I mean, of course, it's theoretically possible, right? I mean, if you're able to time key valuation shifts, right? Like Ethereum valuation shifts to Bitcoin, Bitcoin valuation shifts to Ethereum, even say link Bitcoin valuation shifts, right? Which we discuss on this channel at length. Let's pull one up actually. So, and by the way, I mean, here's a potential ADA Ether valuation shift if it's not able to get above this level here. We'll see. I think that I think the current market conditions. So, okay, so here would be my thesis. If ADA Ether is able to get above this level, then these would be the types of conditions that could do it, right? Because these types of conditions are the most similar to late 2017, early 2018. So if ADA is able to get above these levels, then these would be the conditions I think that would allow it to do so. So, it involves maybe systematically taking some profits. You could, if you're looking to say time momentum shifts in the market, that's not to say that you have to cash out all your ADA at this point. I mean, I sure as hell haven't, but it doesn't mean you can't set a stop or two, to maybe convert some out to USD or convert some out to Ether on the chance that this is a momentum shift back down. Again, I hope it's not, right? I hope it's not a momentum shift back down. I hope we're able to blast through and continue on. But again, what I hope is ultimately irrelevant, right? At the end of the day, it's a numbers game, and hedging your bets, right? Hedging your bets, maybe taking a little bit off the table here, but keeping enough so that you still reserve the right to see a nice upside if it's able to push up, say, another 150% against Ethereum. The same thing goes with a lot of other tokens, right? And you can look at, say, Bitcoin's valuation, or even Avalanche Bitcoin's valuation. Even VeChain Ethereum's valuation bounced at the same level it's bounced at, over the last few years. So I think if you spend a lot of time looking at the markets and looking at trends, it's not to say that any one coin has to give you 100x, but if you squeeze out a 5x here, a 5x there, that's why on this channel we always talk about, don't marry an altcoin, right? If you get in at a good level and it gives you a nice ROI, you can systematically take profits and then allocate it somewhere else. For me, it's all about you hop on the train for a little while for an altcoin, then maybe you hop off and then try to get on another train for a little while. You're not going to go broke taking profits, and if you repeat that strategy long enough, then yeah, theoretically you could turn a small amount of money into a large amount of money. But it takes a lot of time and it takes a strategy, and you just got to keep at it for a market cycle or two. All right, we're back above 49. Let's see if we can push higher. Obviously, 50K is what we're looking for. Yeah, I saw Link is back above 34, which is good. It's nice to see. I mean, you can see that Link started pumping back above 34 once Bitcoin came back down below 49 or whatever. Ether is being dragged up slightly by Bitcoin. Again, it's right around 1850. One possible scenario. Let's consider this scenario, okay? Because I mean, I think just considering scenarios is good. One possible scenario is that Bitcoin continues to drag Ethereum up to 2K. Maybe Bitcoin is what ultimately drags Ethereum up to 2K, and then Bitcoin volatility finally calms down, and then once Ethereum's at 2K, then maybe Ethereum stills the show back and goes to 3K while Bitcoin sits still. Yeah, that's a possibility that I think we should consider. I mean, at least Bitcoin could pull Ethereum up to 1900. I mean, it's only $50 away from doing that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a 3K Ethereum. By the way, am I the only one? Am I the only one who has a lower than normal Bitcoin percentage, or is everyone? With altcoins going up so much, it can be challenging keeping your Bitcoin percentage at a respectable value. I try, but it certainly requires constant care, because with altcoins going up 100% in a week, it can certainly deplete Bitcoin percentages. Yeah, I mean, one way you can increase your Bitcoin percentage during times like this, you can systematically take profits from alts to Bitcoin, or you can take profits from alts to USD or a stablecoin, which will then increase your Bitcoin percentage if you're selling some of your altcoins. So of course, there's two ways to do that. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also, we do have a Telegram channel. We have almost 16,000 members. The Telegram chat is exploding. So if you guys are looking for a Telegram community, I would encourage you guys to join. It's a fairly well-moderated community. We have like 15 admins. We get a new admin every time we get another 1,000 members. So I would suggest joining it if you guys are interested in a Telegram chat room where you can discuss crypto whenever you want to. I'm just kind of spamming it in the chat so everyone sees it. You can also find it in the description below as well. Make sure you guys subscribe. Let's go for 120,000 subscribers and give the video a thumbs up. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Looks like Ether is at 1850. What is the all-time high for Ether now? 1873? Is that what it is? So again, what I'm hoping to see here, and I think there's a decent chance it happens, right? As long as Bitcoin doesn't capitulate. I want to see Ether come up to this next milestone up here. We've talked about this before. The idea that it probably won't make it to this regression band again, but this one is certainly on the cards, and maybe even this one. But I don't think we should spend too much time talking about the purple one until we've actually, moved up the orange one, which in order to move up to the orange one, we need to essentially basically get to 2,800. So if we go to 2,800 in the short term, then we'd be getting to the top of it. If it takes a few weeks, then it might correspond to, like 3,000 or 2,900 or something. It's always nice putting in a new peak on the Ethereum mountain range. Yeah, I keep hoping that Link is, let me go back. So let's look at the Link Bitcoin valuation. Link Bitcoin. So this Link Bitcoin, we're right at the bull market support band. So what we hope, if you hold Link, which I think a lot of people who follow the channel do, you want to watch this level carefully because we'd like to get above it and start putting in good numbers again for Link Bitcoin. And if we put on our Link Bitcoin exponential fit bands, which again are somewhat dubious bands, we have fallen off course here, which we said was a possibility, certainly in a Bitcoin bull market. But I have not given up yet on the idea that it can come back up to these levels. I might give up on it if we can't get there, in a year, because then they're going to continue going up. And if we keep getting further and further away from it, then likely our Link Bitcoin exponential fit band will be rendered useless at that point. But at least it was fun while it lasted. We'll see if it's able to get back up into this region and continue on business as usual, or if business is now changing. So I'm curious, who in the chat is making life-changing money? I really hope you guys are making life-changing money. One thing I will say though, if you're making life-changing money on a lot of altcoins, remember, just a nugget of advice, remember it's only theoretical life-changing money until you cash it out. Just remember that. Yeah, and for the people who maybe are not making life-changing money, you can still be making decent money to then in the future when there's another train, you make life-changing money, right? So it's all about increasing. People talk about, a lot of times people are frustrated, and I see this every single cycle. Imagine you start off with $1,000 and maybe over the course of a year, you're able to turn that, let's say, into 10,000. And in crypto, you can do that, right? Especially when you're in these bull market phases. And then, another bull market year comes along where things do well. And then maybe you cashed out the 10K, and then you kind of wait for another ticket to ride. You wait for another train to come. And then maybe you put 5K. Let's say you take out the 5K, use it to pay your rent or, for your mortgage. So then you start with 5K the next time. And then you're able to turn that into 50K or something, right? Something like that. And then, you keep, this is what I talk about with crypto, right? That's why it's always good to systematically take profits so that you live to fight another day, because there will always be another train to catch, right? There will always be another train to catch. And then maybe, you go a year and you're able to convert 5K into 50K. And then later there's another train you want to catch. So you take the profits, maybe you take out 25K, and then say you're left, the next time you enter, you put in 25K, and then you're able to turn that into 250K, right? And this is why I say a lot of times, systematically taking profits and living to fight another day can be good. And I'm referring to altcoins here, right? I'm referring to altcoins because altcoins are the ones that can give you really insane gains in a short period of time. And you don't even have to think of this in terms of years. You could just think of it as like, let's say you put in $1,000 into altcoin A, right? And then altcoin A goes, you turn 1,000 to 10,000, you take the profits, or maybe you just take 5,000 out, and then you leave the other 5,000 in. So let's say you do something like that, where you put $1,000 into an altcoin, it goes up 10x, now you're at 10,000. Maybe you systematically take 5,000 out and leave 5,000 for this one to continue to run, right? So that if the market continues up, you still have $5,000 in it, but then you also reallocate half of that somewhere else. And of course you have to pay your taxes, don't forget about that, depending on where you live, I guess. And then so this is the idea, right? This is why I always say don't marry an altcoin. There's gains to be made, and then you if you ride one, it does really well, you can offset some of that risk systematically, put it into something else, and then eventually during these altcoin market cycles, right, altcoin casino phases, you can stand to make a lot of money, especially if you start early on, right? If you started in March, by the way, who in the chat was here in March of 2020? Because these people, by the way, these people who got in March or before, these guys are doing the best now, because a lot of these people were already up 10x before 2021, right? If you were buying ADA or Link, right, you could have already been up 10x well before 2021, because we know, ADA was less than 2 cents, right? ADA was less than 2 cents in March, and at some point in 2020, it was trading for like 39 cents or so. So it's the early birds stand to make more money because they've already seen a 10x maybe well before. And so now they already have a lot more money, then they can reallocate those funds, etc. Again, I don't think any type of rational investing is going on at this point. I think this is FOMO mania, and it's just, we never know how high it can take us. But I think the time for rational investing has come and gone, and now we're just going into FOMO mode, which is always a fun mode to be in. Alright, so Lou says, how does someone with $1,000 is totally new to crypto, and there are a lot of us, get started if they're new to crypto and haven't invested anything yet? It's a dangerous thing, right? It's a dangerous thing because a lot of times what I see is that a lot of this new money comes into the space, they throw in like $1,000 or $5,000, and then they can watch it go up, and so they keep throwing in more money, and then there's a nice correction, and then they just capitulate, sell, and then they just leave for a while. What I'm saying is that there will come a day where it will be a lot less risky. But your question is, well, how do you do it today, right? It would seem somewhat of a shame, right, if you're looking at the markets today and you have $1,000 and you want to see if you can turn it into something, right? You're like, well, I have $1,000, everything's going up. What can I do, right? Well, one thing you could do is you could DCA into the market, or you could diversify it, right? You could put some into Bitcoin, some into Ethereum, some into whatever you want. None of this is financial advice, of course, but maybe not put all of it, because if there is a nice correction, then at least you can maybe take advantage of that. So it's a hard thing to say because back in 2018, a lot of people were in similar positions and they were wanting to FOMO a lot of money into the market, and then they lost a lot of that money. So it's never easy coming up with a plan once you're in this mania phase, right? So I would say if you're coming in now, which I understand where you're coming from. In fact, honestly, most people that come into crypto are attracted by a mania phase. I guarantee you there's, a decent percentage of the chat joined crypto in 2017. right? A decent percentage of people probably joined in 2013 when there was another mania phase. And then even fewer people in the mania phase of, say, 2011. But mania phases are what generally bring people in. And the people that come in during the mania phase, you can make money, you can lose money. It's harder to say, right? But then the people that stick around for the next bear market, they see what happened in the mania phase, and then they long for that, right? But they want to be on the other end of it. They want to have gotten in early. So then the people that come in, the people that say came in over here, maybe they made some money in the short term, and then they lost a lot of it, and they saw it come back down. And a lot of people stayed diligent and just continued to accumulate, right? A lot of people stayed diligent, and now they've turned into the smart money, right? They were the dumb money once upon a time, and now they've turned into the smart money. So I would say, if you're coming into the market right now, obviously make sure it's money you can't afford, or you can afford to lose. And one way to play it is if you put in $1,000 and then you turn it into $2,000, you could always reduce your risk and just remove your cost basis, or not your cost basis. You could take out your original investment, and that way you protect yourself, and then you can see what happens, especially if you need the money, right? I mean, if you don't need the money, you don't need to take it out. But if you need the money, which arguably if you need the money, you shouldn't be putting it in the first place. So I don't know. But again, there's not an easy answer, right? There's not an easy answer. I understand the desire to want to come into the market for sure, because you're watching everything go up and you want a piece of that. Yeah, I mean, I know India banned crypto, theoretically speaking, but I mean, China bans crypto like 10 times every year, and it more or less just becomes like a joke, or running joke. Seriously, how many times has China banned crypto? It's like, how many times can you ban it? It seems like every year it's being banned like 5 times by the same countries. Will I go to 100% stable coins at some point? Probably not. Probably not completely. Especially in some of the assets that didn't actually experience the last complete market cycle, right? So like Chainlink is a good example of a coin that wasn't around the last market cycle. So I really don't know what it's capable of. So I anticipate holding at least some Link for years, right? Because I don't want to. I feel like it's too risky not to hold. The same thing goes with ADA, right? We don't have a full cycle of history for ADA, so I'll probably always keep a little bit of that, at least for the foreseeable future. A lot of it, I would say, depends on the risk levels that we talk about on the channel. By the way, if you guys do like the content and you want to subscribe to the premium list, we are still having the altcoin season sale, so I will post that in the description below. You get access to the weekly reports, the weekly videos, the alerts channel on Telegram, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, which is what I use to trade. I have stop limits and stuff set, and premium only live streams. So make sure you guys check it out. I posted it in the comments, or you can find it in the description below. And we also have a lifetime option as well for people who want that in the description, or I'll post that in the comments too. And remember, if you guys want to join the Telegram channel, we have over 16,000 people. So I'm going to post the Telegram channel a few times. Yeah, someone says thoughts on Avalanche. I like Avalanche. I own I bought that. I had bought that one, and I should say that we put out a video on it not that long ago. So if you go on the channel and you look, we actually just put out a video on Avalanche not too long ago. And also, if you guys are looking for a micro cap channel, we have Into the Cryptocosm Telegram chat, over 3,000 people. So if you're looking to shill your favorite altcoin, you go do it in there, and I'll post that one in the chat as well, Into the Cryptocosm. So make sure you guys check that out. Yeah, who remembers the Gap Boys? Who remembers the Gap Boys? And we said back then, if you guys watched back in last September, if you guys were watching the channel back in last September, you'll remember the Gap Boys. Who were the Gap Boys? The Gap Boys were the ones that were screaming here that we had to go back down to $9,600. And the funny thing is we made videos at the time. Where I was joking that, you know, the Gap Boys are going to be waiting for this, and that really it's the 20-week moving average, our bull market support band, which is way more important. And it was like Bitcoin just teased it. And I said back then, I was like, maybe someone remembers this, but I said back then, think about how poetic it would be if the gap at $9,600 on the daily, the CME, is never filled. And these people are just growing old, waiting for that gap to be filled. And basically, this is somewhat Bitcoin giving the middle finger to the idea that this gap had to be filled, and said, you know what? Just kidding. We're going up. Here we are, right? Here we are, you know, from 10K to 48K. The Gap Boys will be waiting a long time. Maybe type F in the chat to pay to pay your respect to the Gap Boys down here. It looks like Link is holding up fairly well. I mean, it's at 34.5. By the way, you know, I talk about my favorite coins on the channel, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link 8, and DOT, and Avalanche is one that, you know, I'm talking about too now. It's at 41. Do you guys generally own all of those coins, or you own like subsets of those coins? I'm curious to hear. Yeah, someone said all but Avalanche. You know, if you're in the U.S., you can still buy it if you know, there's some places. But I imagine it'll be listed on a lot more U.S. based exchanges in the not so distant future. I'm also curious, if you've been around the channel long enough, you'll remember when we were talking about ADA, when it was less than 10 cents, and I made videos for months saying that I think ADA was a solid buy below 10 cents. Who was buying ADA at like 4 cents and 3 cents? It was there not that long ago, right? Less than a year ago. If you were buying it at 3 and 4 cents, I mean, you're doing quite well right now, right? I mean, it's at 88 cents. And potentially could have much higher to go, right? I mean, a several dollar ADA is not necessarily off the cards. You know, I mean, if you think about how far it's come, and if the cycle continues on, I think a several dollar ADA is theoretically on the cards at some point this cycle. Yeah, I mean, congrats to everyone who was buying ADA back then. So now I guess the question is, yeah, like how much will it start? How much will it keep going? It does need to break through some pretty significant milestones. By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but one of the ways that you can somewhat, I mean, if you are coming in, if you're new to the market, not financial advice, of course, but one thing you might do is if you're finding coins that are pumping and then retracing, maybe just look to see when they're back at their 20-day moving average, right? Look to see when they're at their 20-day moving average, and that might give you some indication, right? DOT was there not that long ago on February 3rd, so I mean, imagine if a scenario where it does something like this, that could be an indication, might be something. Obviously, it's ultimately going to depend on Bitcoin, of course. Um, Avalanche, for instance, is well above its 20-day moving average right now, but imagine it does something like this where the 20-day moving average comes up and it hits here and starts to ride the 20-day or something. That might be a better time, based on what a lot of these trends we're seeing right again here, holding the 20-day moving average. And you go over to Link and you look at the 20-day moving average again. It was just riding that 20-day moving average. So if you're looking for coins, and you have a pet project that you want to watch, I would say one potentially to watch is the 20-day. Let's see where Ethereum's is, right? And you can see Ethereum is kind of following it as well, more or less, holding the 20-day more or less right here. It's not too far away from the 20-day right now. The 20-day being at around 1590, just under 1600, and the price being at 1843. So, but like if you're finding, and I said this the other day too, or maybe I said it on the premium channel. We actually I looked at 4 different coins. We said, okay, let's look at ADA, Ethereum, DOT, and Link, and ADA was the one that was furthest from the 20-day moving average. So I said, okay, well maybe not this one because it just had a major pump. Maybe DOT and Link, and then maybe DOT and Link will pump before an Ethereum pump, and so they were fairly close to the 20-day moving average, both DOT and Link. So maybe this is a way to play it. I'm just speculating, of course, but in the event that ADA were to come back down here or something, right? Maybe that's an entry. Obviously, the markets are overheated. And it's a complete casino at this point. As I said, I don't think any rational investing is going on. But you cannot deny that for a lot of coins, the 20-day moving average seems to be a decent indicator of support, right? Here's DOT holding it as support every step of the way. Here's Avalanche holding it as support here. Obviously, it's nowhere near it right now. ADA was holding it more or less as support. Link, right, holding it as support. So maybe take a look at the 20-day moving average for whatever coin you're looking to accumulate, and if you find a coin that's just right on top of that 20-day moving average and it's in an uptrend, it might be an indication that it could break out and go on a run of its own. Just something to consider, of course. Obviously not financial advice and nothing you can take to the bank. Yeah, I mean you can use other tools too. I'm just showing this one. And a lot of these coins you can stake too. That's the nice thing, right? You could buy some of the coins and you just stake them fairly simply, and then you just continue to earn more of them without actually having to put in more USD. Do I still hold the majority of my DOT? I actually hold all of it, to be completely honest, because I I really don't like paying short-term capital gains on some of the big projects I like investing in. I like it if I can hold for long-term capital gains. And DOT just hit the open market right back in August, So I would need to wait until at least August of 2021 before we'll be at long-term capital gain time. So, I mean, with that said, I'm not saying definitively that I won't sell any before the 1 year mark. Especially, you know, I mean, if DOT does something crazy and continues to just like go parabolic, then yeah, I might take profits. But I haven't taken any yet. And we were accumulating. I was accumulating it on the channel. We were talking about it between 3 and 6, so it's already up a decent amount since then. But it's not up. It's not yet up enough for me to want to take profits on it and have to pay, you know, the ridiculous short-term capital gains I would have to pay on it. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Let's go for 120,000 subscribers. I don't even know where we are. We're at 107. Oh, we're at 118,000. Let's get 2,000 more subscribers and go for 120. I think we can make it. Well, probably not because I'm going to bed soon. But maybe by the time I wake up tomorrow, we'll be at 119 or something. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. We're almost at 1,000 likes. And as a reminder, check out our Telegram channel. Over 16,000 people if you guys want to join it. Fairly good community. Yeah, I know my chair squeaks. But again, it would take a lot of have to cash out a lot of Satoshis to buy a new chair. How long do I plan to keep on going for the lifetime subscription? I mean, I want to keep doing this. Honestly, when the bear market hits, we'll probably shift gears and talk about other things, more like stocks and stuff, other ways to grow the money. The general idea, right, is during the bull market, you rapidly grow your wealth, and then you try to slowly scale out as we approach a theoretical peak, and then you have all this new money, and then you put it into something safe for a little while, like a mutual fund, while you figure out what you want to do with it and how you want to reallocate it, right? So you grow it quickly, and then you protect it, and then maybe you take portions of that money that you've already made, and then you go back into a higher risk investment with a portion of it, and then you leave the majority of it to just, you know, grow slowly so that you've ensured you've kind of entered a new phase of your life where you have more money, and you know you're not, you know, this is the idea, right? Grow the money quickly with crypto, slowly scale out as everything goes parabolic, and then protect the wealth in some lower risk thing for a little while you figure out the next, you know, the way you want to reallocate some of that capital again, and then you just repeat the process, right? You just keep repeating the process. Actually, yeah, this was something that I keep wondering about. Like, once I get to 100,000 subscribers, I thought I was supposed to get like some YouTube play button or something, but I never got anything. Maybe I need to check around and see if they contacted me somehow, but I never saw any type of contact. I mean, honestly, I don't really care, right? I mean, we're making a killing in crypto. I don't really care about some stupid play button, but I was still wondering why I never got contacted about it. What's your minimum threshold for financial freedom? It depends on what your lifestyle is, right? It depends on how extravagant your lifestyle is. You know, one thing to consider if you're looking to, say, theoretically retire, if you're living off a certain amount of money, you have to be very protective of that money. So once new income stops coming in, you can't afford to be super risky with your money, right? I mean, like imagine you put away a certain amount of money. Let's just say $1 million, right? Let's say you have $1 million in the bank that you want to live off of. It's not like you can just FOMO $1 million into crypto all the time, because if crypto retraces 90%, and you're back and you just lost 90% of your money, then it's not like you can live off 100K for the rest of your life. I mean, it probably depends on what country you live in. So, with that in mind, right, if you have a certain amount of money in the bank, you have to be careful with it. If you don't, you have to be especially careful with it, especially if you're planning on retiring on that money. And if you retire early, like in your 30s or your 40s, and you have to live off that money for a long time, you need to make sure you protect it. So, I mean, it depends on what what style of life you want, right? I mean, you could probably pretty reasonably earn. I mean, obviously in the stock market, you can do fairly well on average, maybe like 10%, 12%. We've had a lot of really good years. But if you wanted to be super conservative, maybe say 3% and put it in a really low risk area, and you could be earning 3% or 4%, 5% maybe, and then consider 5% of what would get you to where you need to be. Of course, in crypto right now, you can earn fairly high interest rates on a lot of stable coins. But as we always say, even that there are inherent risks involved, right? Everything comes with some level of risk. You just have to figure out if you want to take it or not. Yeah, there's dividend stocks. I know a lot of people. A lot of people like to talk about dividend stocks on YouTube, right? Because the idea is, and it's kind of similar to there's some similarities with what you can earn in crypto. But the idea is, you amass a certain amount of some dividend stock and you just live off the dividends, right? If you're trying to buy the lifetime subscription with crypto, you just send it to the address. You don't actually have to do it via Coinbase. What is the risk on stablecoin interest investment? Well, I mean, it depends on where you do it, right? If any type of centralized platform, there's always some risk involved. Of course, there's always some risk involved. And if you can find interest rates that are a lot higher than you could find in traditional markets, there's likely unstated risks involved that they're just not telling you about, or they're just not sustainable, and those interest rates will ultimately come down, and they just probably had a cash infusion from, say, angel investors that are allowing them to offer high interest rates to attract a lot of people, and then once they have a lot of market share, then they'll lower the interest rates substantially, hoping that people will be too lazy to switch to a different centralized platform. That's my guess. We actually, for those who are interested in stocks, I haven't visited it too much recently, but we have another Telegram channel called Into the Equityverse. So I'll post it here in case you guys want to join it. You can go talk about stocks there. A lot of people talking about GME the last few weeks in there. I do hold a little bit of gold and silver, but not a lot, because they're the Sharpe ratio, right? The risk-adjusted returns on precious metals pales in comparison to what you'll find in crypto and in equities. So because of that, I don't own a lot of gold and silver. Again, I know people feel a certain way about gold and silver, but if you just look at the math, the Sharpe ratio is not that great for them. I do hold a little bit of it, just as a small hedge, but it's a very small percentage of my portfolio. And most years, equities are outperforming precious metals, and a lot of years crypto is blowing precious metals out of the water, except for the occasional year where crypto drops like 80 or 90%. I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that metals aren't. I'm definitely not saying that metals don't have any value. Again, I said I do own some. By the way, I own another one too. I said it before. I own Bitcoin, or sorry, not Bitcoin. I own gold. I do own Bitcoin, but I own gold, silver, and there's one other one. Does anyone know what it is? If you watch the channel long enough, you'll know what it is. What's the other metal that I own besides gold and silver? Yep, you guys got it. A lot of people got it. Palladium. I need to go to all here, sorry. Look at this. Look at this chart. I mean look at this chart for palladium. 40s, back in 2016, 46, currently at 224. I mean, it's doing fairly well. So yeah, I do own some palladium in addition to gold and silver. Palladium is we have a video on the channel about modern portfolio theory and maximizing your Sharpe ratio, so maximizing your risk adjusted returns on the efficient frontier for precious metals, and palladium is one that popped up. So unobtainium. Someone says this palladium coin on Uniswap. I don't think they have that one. Yeah, the ratio between crypto and traditional stocks, it's hard to say, right? I mean, like 12 months ago, I was way heavier in stocks than crypto, but this cycle ballooning this quickly has increased my crypto percentage a lot. My stocks have been doing fairly well too. I mean, don't get me wrong, but even if stocks are going up like 100%, it's still going to pale in comparison to crypto going up 10x or 50x, right? I mean, so that's why I'm systematically offsetting some risk from crypto out to say fiat. Occasionally, right, setting some stops a lot of times on altcoins, making sure that I take these amazing profits that we're seeing and putting them into something safer, whether it's fiat or stable coins and earning interest and waiting just for the market to calm down. Again, you don't have to squeeze out every ounce of return on every asset known to man. You can take the profits, put it in somewhere safe for a little bit while you clear your head and figure out, okay, how do you want to allocate that fresh capital that you just saw go up like 10x or something. Someone says he's 31 years old. Is it too late to get into stocks? I don't think it's ever too late, right? It's never too late. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see a 50K on the stream. I don't think we're going to see it. The curse of the stream continues. Let's actually look. Let's see how well I timed the local top, okay? A lot of people joke that I mean, this is not financial advice, but a lot of people joke that they should just open up they should open up shorts whenever I start the stream. So we've been going for, let's see, 74 minutes. So let's go back 74 minutes and see where we were 74 minutes ago. Okay, so I started I started streaming there. The curse of the stream. I saw someone joke earlier. They said when I started the stream, they shorted at 49.3. I guess their short's doing fairly well. I mean, I think there is a science behind why I start streaming at local tops, right? Like, the market has to move substantially for me to want to stream. Therefore, I usually come on after it's moved substantially, and by that point, people start selling, right? And it comes back down. I mean, really, if you think about it, maybe my live streams are another indicator, right, that you can use. Like, you just add it to your dashboard of what you use. It just says, like, is bin live, yes or no? And if it's no, then maybe there's a higher probability the markets are going up. And if it's yes, then you might want to be cautious. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably call it here in a minute. It's pretty late here. The problem is I feel like I'm going to call it, and then right when I shut the stream off, like, this is going to happen, right? It's going to go up and then break 50K is my guess. Well, I mean, obviously I have no idea what's going to happen, but with my luck, that'll probably be what happens, and then I miss 50K on live stream. Yeah, we've come back down here. We're kind of stabilizing at around 48.7. So let's actually go back to the hour time frame and see kind of where we are here. So yeah, we blasted upwards. Now we've had a little bit of time where we're pulling back. Jordan says he'll push the price up. He's still got 100 left in his Coinbase account. Alright. Remember, you guys can check out, if you guys want to check out the premium list, you can do that. You can find the link to the alt season sale in the description below. We'll put it in the comments. Weekly reports, weekly videos. We actually just put out a weekly video like a few hours ago. The alerts channel on Telegram, etc. The risk dashboard. Make sure you guys check it out if you want to lock in the lower rate. And remember too, we have the Telegram channel, over 16,000 people, so it looks like we have crossed 16K in the alerts channel. So if you guys do want to continue the party after the stream is over, there's a lot of people talking in the Telegram room. All right, you guys want to wrap it up? You guys want to wrap it up here? We'll see. Ether is at 1835. Ether Bitcoin is coming back down to the same level it's been at the last couple days. Note that both of these times right here, so February 9th, February 11th here, starting February 11th, and then on February 14th. So the 9th, 11th, and 14th, where Ethereum Bitcoin valuation came back down to these levels, also corresponded to these moves by Bitcoin. The 9th, the 11th, and the 14th. Okay, so this Bitcoin volatility to the upside is causing, this is what's causing Ether Bitcoin to go back to these levels, okay, each and every time. So Bitcoin volatility, not good for Ether Bitcoin, generally okay for Ether USD, as long as it's volatility to the upside. If it's volatility to the downside, then you have Ether USD doing very badly a lot of times, Ether Bitcoin also doing very badly as well. Make sure you guys subscribe. Let's go for 120,000 subscribers. We're currently at 118,000. So subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Check out the premium list if you want that. Check out the Telegram channel if you have any interest in joining that. Should we wrap it up? Let's see. Bitcoin. Let me look at the minute chart here and see how things look. So yeah, we've kind of steadied out here for a little bit. All right, well maybe once I go off stream, we'll start to see this go back up. So keep an eye on that. Well, let me hold on. 48.8. Let's see what happens. If we get above 49 in the next, if we get above 49 in the next 3 minutes, I'll stay on stream. So we'll give it 3 minutes, really quick. We'll see. We'll see in the next 3 minutes. If we get above 49, then I'll stay on. Dot still at 28. Again, nicely bouncing off that 20-day. Avalanche is doing okay at 42. Maybe if it goes back down to the 20-day, maybe that's an opportunity. I don't know. Curious to dominance. Yeah, so the dominance has moved up about 0.8%. Actually, what are we at right now? We're at 61.23. We were at, oh no, it's moved up about a percentage. So the dominance moved up about a full percentage today. Is 100% in Doge considered risk averse? I don't think so. Actually, it looks like my stream is starting to cut out a little. I don't know what's going on, but I'm seeing it's starting to lag some. It's trying to come up. The price is trying to move up here. These are minute charts, of course. 48,812. Again, I would expect, I mean, if right now the show's on Bitcoin, right? The rest of the market is likely going to watch Bitcoin here to see what it does, is my guess, right? It's my guess that the market is going to watch and see what Bitcoin does before a lot of the market could react to what what it wants to do. All right, it's 12. It's time to. I think it's time to end it, because we're still below 49. So maybe we'll hit 50K while I'm asleep. Maybe not. It would certainly be nice to catch it on stream one day, but you cannot win them all. So make sure you guys subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Check out the Telegram channel. Check out the altcoin season sale for the premium list. And I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye.